This video will show you how to replace the rear inside door handle on a Ford Edge. This will be mounted to your rear door panel. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Make your way to the inside door handle. We're going to start removing the plastic bezel. Looking in the center of the plastic bezel, you're going to find a circular cover. Use a small pocket screwdriver or pick to dislodge it. Once you've completed that, you're going to be using a T20 Torx directly in the center area here to loosen that mounting screw. Let's grab hold of that with a magnet. We'll pull on the inside door handle, and at this point we should be able to start removing the inside bezel. Now we can start removing the handle itself, but keep in mind, the handle actually has two small locating tabs, one up along the top, one on the bottom. The bottom one slides into a circular port. On the top, it actually slides into a hooked area. We also will have an inside door handle cable along the back side of this. Now with all that said, I'm going to be using a trim tool as a prying device. I had mentioned that there's a hooked area inside of here that the handle slides into, so I want to try to pry this out of position. I'll come right in this area here, gently press. We can see that it's starting to rock out of position. Now that I have the top area broken free, I'm going to make my way down along the bottom here. Now I'm just using an angled pick. It just gives me a little bit more leverage, but essentially I'm going to carefully try prying out the bottom tab. Now we should be able to carefully start pulling this out of this area so we can start removing our cable on the inboard side. Now once you have it pulled out far enough, we can start removing that cable. The cable will have to make its way through this small slot on the door handle itself. So we'll have to pivot this so it gets into the proper orientation. You can use some pliers for the cable as necessary. That's going to hold the cable while we bring it through the slot and then eventually up and out of the handle itself. There we are. That just slid right off of there. I'm just going to grab that cable, try to show you what it looks like here. There's the cable end. This is exactly what we're looking for. There's no damage, still in good condition, and there's our handle. Prior to installation of any brand new part, of course, we want to make sure we clean and inspect our mounting area. We have the door panel, and we have the internals here. We already inspected the cable, but I do want to pay attention to the mounting surfaces for the handle itself. Down along the bottom area here, I had mentioned that we have a circular port. Quick wipe there, no damage. Up along the top, we have the hooked area. Of course, the door panel itself, we'll just give that a quick wipe, clean it down as well as you deem fit. Now it's time for installation of the brand new rear inside door handle. Let's have a quick look along the back side. Along the back, we want to pay attention to this spring assembly. During the installation, we need to make sure that we have the spring pressed in this direction. So when we do pull on the handle, it's going to give us spring pressure. We're going to do that once we already have the cable in place and we're starting to set the rest of it into the proper mounting points. Let's start with the cable. Now as far as this cable, I'm holding onto it with my long nose pliers. This is going to help me direct it into the proper placement on my handle itself. Now I am looking at the handle upside down because I want to see the groove. We have to line this up, slide it in through the groove. Once it's in the proper position, as I mentioned, we'll swing it around, make sure our spring's in the proper placement as well, start resting the bottom in, and roll the top up into the hooked area. Okay, I've got the small end going in, but now I still need to get the cable in the groove. We'll make our adjustments as necessary. Now I've got the cable going through the groove here. At this point, as I mentioned, I need to make sure my spring is going in this direction while I bring the lower portion down into the circular port. So I'm just pressing that spring. We're lifting it up, sliding it in. Now that I have the lower portion in the proper positioning, I'm going to carefully start pressing it down. I'm swinging the upper portion into the hooked end. Now, as you can tell, I'm not level here. This needs to be pressed in just a little bit further. There we are. Take hold of the handle. Go ahead and give it a tug. Confirm it retracts as it should. If it does not, you did not set that spring in the proper alignment. We'll continue on with our bezel. As far as the bezel, pull on the inside handle. Let's go ahead and slide this into position. With it in the proper position, it's time for our mounting screw. Let's go go ahead and start that screw in. We'll snug it up. Just double check to make sure that's secure. Let's protect the area. Now, prior to closing the door, we always like to test the functionality of our door handles. As far as the inside handle, we're going to be using the handle, but we also need to pay attention to our door latch. Now, I'm going to be using a 1/4 inch extension. The extension is going to act as the striker on the body of the vehicle. If I was to close the door, the latch would go over the striker. Now at this point, I'm going to be pulling on the door, attempting to open it without actually pulling on the handle. Nothing happens. I'll reach in, take hold of that inside handle while applying pressure, and it does release. Let's test that again. It releases. Now, if for some reason yours did not, you do want to double check to make sure that your door is not in the locked position. You do not have the child lock on. Aside from that, if it still did not unlock, more than likely the cable is not set properly. You need to make an adjustment. After that, test it again, and then go ahead and close the door. Perfect. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.